Hello and welcome to World of Tanks. I'm Tomless and I'll be your host in today's battle on the Swamp map. So, I'm in the WZ-111, one of the Chinese tier 8 heavy tanks, and quite possibly my favourite premium tank in the game. It's a tier 9 battle, although to be fair, there's only one tier 9 on each team. In our case, it's the M46 Patton, and on the enemy team, it's the Lorraine 40-ton. The Lorraine packs a very dangerous gun. It features an autoloader with 6 shells in one magazine, capable of doing in total 1800 damage, which is quite troublesome for me as I only have 1550 hit points. I'll also have to watch out for the enemy Ferdinand and Shtys Emil, as they can both mount 12.8cm guns that do a lot of damage. Speaking of a lot of damage, it is important to know just how much artillery is on the enemy team, and adjust your play accordingly. Now, the enemy team only has one artillery piece, the Lorraine 155-51, so I feel fairly comfortable going to a slightly risky position on the southern flank of the map. Traditionally, heavy tanks are all about the armor, and the armor of the WZ-111 looks pretty good, with 120mm on the front and side of the hull. However, this only applies to the top part of the hull. The lower hull is in fact 80mm thick, and not very well sloped, so even most tier 6 tanks have no trouble penetrating this tank frontally. The key to using the armor must then be to hide the lower hull and only expose the stronger bits, such as the turret, and that is exactly what I'm attempting to do with the position I'm heading to. One of my favourite attributes about the WZ-111 is its mobility, which allows it to reach aggressive locations well before most of the enemy heavy tanks can get into position. When you attempt to take an aggressive position, such as the one I have in mind, it is important to ensure that you have support from your allies. In this case, that means having a few other tanks coming with me to the castle on the southern flank. Without support, you run the risk of being overwhelmed and taken out very quickly and easily. Here I decide to drive around the right side of the small undulation and the houses, so that if the Lorraine is here, I don't get completely caught out. If there was a lot of artillery on the enemy team, I would prefer to stick closer to the castle wall and fight from the corner of that, as it does provide valuable artillery cover. As it turns out, nobody is here, so I can safely continue to my desired location. The excellent view range of 380 meters that the WZ-111 has means that you can consider mounting coated optics instead of improved ventilation along with the mandatory gun-ram and vertical stabilizer, as good view range does come in handy when using positions such as this one. Our first target is the Ferdinand. You can tell by the outline that he isn't using the big 12.8cm gun, as this one has a muzzle brake and the 12.8 doesn't. Now, the shell velocity of these armor-piercing shells is not the greatest at 800 meters per second, so at long range you do have to give a bit of lead. I think that might have been a bit too much though. Let's have another look. Yeah, it hit the angled corner plate, which is actually a weak spot from the front as it is only 80mm thick. However, from this angle 80mm is easily enough to deflect my shell. Here another target pops up, this time a KV-3. However, I keep firing at the Ferdinand as it is a more dangerous tank, and now he's also playing very aggressively against our IS-6. By destroying the Ferdinand, I might be able to save the IS-6. The gun of the WZ-111 is not very accurate at all, but even this gun can't miss a broadside with Ferdinand when you aim it properly. With the Ferdinand taken care of, I switch my fire to the KV-3. While its armor is thick, most of it isn't particularly well angled, and when he is presenting the tank flat on like that, it would be rude of me not to take a shot. Aim for the hull, hit the top of the turret, but hey, who am I to complain? If there were tanks immediately in front of me, I would fall back a little bit to keep my lower hull hidden. However, as this is not the case, I am free to pump shell after shell into the KV-3 with impunity. So far, so good. I have taken no damage at this point, in fact I don't even think I have been spotted yet, and I am on my second kill with nearly 2000 damage done. If you have a look at the map, you'll see the northern flank is falling apart, so I want to head back to base. But first, I need to clean up this flank to ensure that I don't get shot by enemies in my rear. Now I've been spotted, as you can tell by the fantastic Jingles 6th Sense icon. Link to that in the description down below, but for now, let's focus on this IS-6. With 175mm of penetration, it is a very tough nut to crack. However, in patch 9.13, when this match was played, that hatch right there was indeed a weak spot. On to the KV-4. It's a KV-3's bigger brother and is the heaviest tank in this matchup, but you can tell that he's using the stock turret by the low maximum health of 1600, as the upgraded turret used to bring it up to 1650 health, although now it's 1700. He's not trying to make it difficult for me, as I do have a flat side of his vehicle, but then again, I'm not the only one shooting at him. Now, I really don't want to shoot my ally in the Super Pershing, so I take my time with the aim to make sure I hit the KV-4. This also means that I take the kill, which actually ended up mattering after the battle. With the southern flank secure, I can now safely return to the base to defend against the rest of the enemy team. This is yet another case where good mobility is very useful. Up ahead are the two remaining enemy Super Pershings. When you're in the WZ-111, the Super Pershing is a nightmare to fight frontally, as while it does have a lot of weak spots, they aren't exactly big enough to make the .46 accuracy of the WZ-111 sufficient. Luckily for me, they are busy engaging the Shtys, so they are giving me the size of their turrets. Now, I could take the shot at the first Super Pershing, and it would probably hit and do a lot of damage. However, I hold my fire because the other Super Pershing is on very low health. If I can kill him, then that's one less gun pointing in my direction. Having finished off the Shtys, they now switch their attention to me. Now I stand very little chance at damaging the Super Pershing, and my 5 degrees of gun depression simply isn't enough to work with the terrain effectively. Instead, I drop down and rely on my allies, who are setting up on the southern ridge, as I make my way towards our base. I spot the Panther II by the river, but I don't want to waste my time dealing with him as the T-37 is capturing our base. I'm completely fine with taking a hit here, considering I haven't lost any health yet, and oh, there's T-37. He sees me coming and takes cover behind the wreck of our artillery, but then exposes himself just a little bit and wow, that was a lucky shot. Let's just see that again, shall we? There he is. Looks like he's trying to shoot at me and, yeah, straight through the top of his turret. This small hill is very useful when you're defending the base. Here you have cover from the people on the right, and if you fall back, you can also hide from the invaders in the base. Here I have a shot at the T-37, but I'm too slow to take advantage of it as it does see me again. And what's he doing now? For some bizarre reason, it looked like he was trying to side-scrape in a light tank. That would be a valid option in a lot of tanks, but the T-37 isn't one of them. Now I take the first points of damage in this match. The battle is in its closing stages, so I can afford to start trading my health. Besides, it should only take 3 shots to kill the Panther II and the WZ-111. Oh, sounds like the enemy WZ-111 bounced a high explosive anti-tank shell on my front. That's a premium shell for this tank, which has 250mm of penetration. His next shell doesn't bounce, but he is a one-shot kill, and I'm not, so I come out on top with a slightly lucky shot there. Although, had it not killed him, I still had enough health to survive another hit, and the Panther II in front of me would have provided good cover. And now we return to the Super Pershing, who is the last one alive on the enemy team. From this angle it's an easy penetration, and he doesn't even turn his tank around to face me, so that's an easy kill to end with. So here we go, the battle results. Not too bad at all if I do say so myself. I secured my second Mark of Excellence, as well as the Ace Tanker Badge, and a few other mundane ribbons. On top of that, I managed to destroy 8 enemy vehicles, which yielded me the Radley Walters medal, and obviously the Top Gun to go with it. Unusually, however, I also received the Tank Sniper Award for causing a lot of damage at long range accurately. Not the easiest thing to do in the WZ-111, considering the inaccurate nature of the gun. Additionally, I also earned the High Caliber Award for dealing a whopping 5,245 damage in a Tier 9 game. And top of the team on experience, of course, with just shy of 1,600 base experience. Of course, being a premium vehicle, I do get a slight bonus on experience of about 10%, which is nice, always helps crew training a little bit extra. Additionally, I fired 22 shots, and most of them hit and penetrated, which was very nice. Again, not the most accurate gun, and certainly not the best penetration at Tier 8. But even though the shells do cost over 1,000 credits apiece, I still managed to earn a nice 60,000 credit profit in the end.